This is the third take I've taken on trying to get across what I want to get across in regards to this knife. Now, several weeks ago, you guys were fantastic sharing all of your different knives that you like to use, etc. But there's quite a few loud people who were critiquing me about this knife in particular, which literally only had like 10 seconds of screen time, if that, because I called it ridiculous. Now, that video was specifically talking about fighting knives, right? And I do need to admit that this is a Bowie style knife. Now, Bowies are popular because they got their popularity from a guy named James Bowie, who was one of the heroes of the Alamo, and he was well known as a knife fighter, right? And his knives are highly collectible. His brother was actually the one who basically manufactured the knives for Jim Bowie. But nonetheless, this is a Bowie style knife. And you would think, because of being a Bowie style knife, that I would actually have praise for this style of knife for fighting and for taking out the woods. Now, many people said, this knife right here, this would be a great chopper. I have one just like it, etc., etc., etc. All right. So let's break down some of the things that people said, specifically praising this particular knife, okay? And I will give credit where it's due. I will do my very best. Now, also, I need you guys to keep in mind that I live in Ohio in the Eastern Woodlands. The American Revolution took place pretty much in the eastern part of the United States, right? Some of it took part across the Appalachian Mountains in the Ohio Territory, where I am, but most of it, especially all the major battles and everything, was fought on the east side, okay? Not down in the southwest, not out in the jungles, etc. So when I made that video, I was specifically talking about it with those applications in mind. But this type of knife is a fighting style knife. It's rather long. It's got the handguard and things like that. So it has all the first characteristics that you would think about a fighting knife. However, let's take a look at some of the nuances, such as the thick spine. The thick spine adds a tremendous amount of weight. And if I'm going to beat on a knife, which I don't, I'm not that kind of guy, some of you bushcrafters are, this would be the knife I would beat on. Of course, over time it's going to mushroom out the spine, and that's not going to look very pretty, but you could. Is this a chopper? Not in like what you would think is like a machete, okay? Because a lot of the weight is back here instead of more towards the middle or towards the tip. So it's going to wear you out. The balance of it is off so bad. Could it stab? Yes, it could stab. Could it slice? Well, of course, it's a knife. It could slice. Okay, so really the biggest thing that we're going to argue about is really the weight of the daggone knife and the thickness of the spine and how that's placed. Now, beyond fighting, this knife, I would argue, really isn't good for anything. I don't think it's a good chopper. I don't think it's a good butchering knife. I cannot see myself out west hunting buffalo taking this knife out and skinning and quartering and taking care of a buffalo. I would be so worn out by the end of it using this knife. Now, I don't have an original 18th or 19th century knives. However, I do have some close ones. And I do know, that 19th century knives tended to be on the thinner side along with 18th century knives, especially since metal, I mean, it's not like it was uncommon, but you got to pay for it, right? It has to be produced outside of the United States for the most part. So it's an import instead of an export. If we take a look at this knife here, now this is my early 20th century thistle head knife, and this one's by Abercrombie and Fitch. Okay, now we all know Abercrombie and Fitch today as the 21st century apparel company and some possibly other bad things. Okay, but in the 20th century, Abercrombie and Fitch was the go-to people for outdoor equipment. This is where the affluent went to do all their fishing gear shopping, right? So we're going to take a look here in just a second as I do an overview. But this spine is on probably the thickest side that you would find on a knife in the 19th and 18th century. And it's also really long. Instead of like 5 inches, it's like 6 inches or so. Now this knife is a reproduction of the Nesmik knife. Now Nesmik was really popular in the late 19th century, and he carried on the traits of his knives just like the time period as well. So we are going to look at the spines of these three knives and compare. Compared to what I most recently picked up is this guy right here. I saw this thing in an antique store and I picked it up for $5. Like $5, you cannot miss buying a knife for $5 that has everything that this thing's got. First of all, it's carbon steel. Love carbon steel. Secondly, it's a real stag handle. It's not a fake one. It's not plastic or something like that. It's got sterling silver accents, which is pretty nice, right? Now, when I picked this up, I was like, that is the same shape overall as many 18th century fighting knives. So even if I have to adjust this a little bit to defarb it, I could easily turn this into an 18th century fighting knife. Now, when I got closer and closer, I knew this was like a serving knife that you would find at your dinner table around Thanksgiving or Christmas, Easter, you know, during one of those feast days and you're carving the turkey or something. It is extremely flexible, right? And it's because up to this point right here, about halfway, the spine tapers down to pretty much paper thin. That kind of makes the whole fighting knife a little moot. However, the overall shape and everything else dictates that it could be a fighting knife. So we're going to take a look at how thin this blade is compared to the others. And I would love to hear your opinion on how I should handle this. Should I grind it down and basically make a new knife out of it that's roughly about 6, maybe 5 inches in length? Should I get rid of the silver accents and move the handle up, or should I just pretty much leave it as is? So I'd love to hear your feedback. Let me know. All right, let's take a look.
Let's take a look at this guy right here first. You can see the thickness of the spine right there. Like, that is beefy compared to the Abercrombie & Fitch. So you're looking at another 1/8 of an inch in thickness on this guy right here versus this one here. And we take a look at our subject for the video. See how paper thin it gets down to the tip. And then compared to the Nesmik, which is literally like half the thickness as our big guy here. Now, because of all that weight, it could swing, but you're going to wear yourself out because of the balance. That thickness really doesn't cut off until, you know, pretty much right there. Okay. Also, take a look at this. You got this big space right here on the ricasso, which I don't know why the knife maker did that. It's made in China. I think there's a marking on it somewhere. You can see right there. There's no other markings besides that. So this is just a cheap, you know, hardware store type knife.
There you have it. Like, this guy right here, I think, is a fighting knife for sure. But swinging it and everything like that, you're going to wear yourself out just because of the balance. The thickness makes it so extra heavy that it doesn't need to have that weight, especially when these fighting knives are, for the most part, stabbing type knives, which is more akin really to something like this. Okay, it doesn't have the width of it on the blade, it doesn't have the thickness of the blade. Something like this is closer to it. It's got the length. So 18th century fighting knives were up to like 12 inches long. They're pretty lengthy and all that. But of course, this doesn't apply because of how flexible it was. This would not be a very practical fighting knife. But as a representation, I'd like to know your thoughts. Should I cut it down? What can I tweak, or should I tweak to make this a representation of an 18th century fighting knife? $5. You can't go wrong. Now, I've got some footage to show you. I'm really excited to share this with you and to get you all amped up about the Preston Mess Kit. Here we go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm a runner with a limb, and I've taken my hits. I've been out in the cold, I get used to the road, and I haven't seen home in weeks. No, I don't sleep much, and my dreams are a little rough, but there's nothing that'll wake me up, and you won't break me. I've been broke, and I've been bent, and I've been bruised, but you won't break me. 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 I'm a rambling fool, and I don't follow the rules, but I ain't nobody's tool, and I'm a stone that don't roll, and I can say I told you so. I've been up, down, all around, in and out of town, all the way to the ground, but you won't break me. I've been broke, and I've been bent, and I've been bruised, but you won't break me. 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 No, you won't break me.
I hope that segment of the video gets you pretty excited about the Preston Mess Kit. Just as excited as maybe you would be getting a $5 knife that you can tweak and make it a usable item once again for your purposes, because that's pretty exciting. But you can get your own Preston Mess Kit for $200. As of right now, it's looking like it's probably going to be delayed to be in June. All the stuff that's going on in the Middle East right now is having an impact on the people around the world, even in India where these mess kits are getting produced due to cooking gas of all things, which I didn't know that was like a big deal, but yeah, it is. So if you're interested in getting a Preston Mess Kit, in the description box below, there's a link. You can click it, and it has all the details, the video, the history, and everything. I personally believe it is the best one-man personal mess kit that you can get. Now, if you like the video, please click like, because we appreciate it, and it helps other people find the video. Please don't forget to leave a comment and tell me what you think I should do with this one, and if you believe that my opinions are the same or different on this matter of this knife. I do appreciate your guys' opinion. Just be nice, all right? Let's have a civil discourse. Having a debate's one thing. Now, if you'd like to see the video about the Preston Mess Kit, you can take a look over here. If you'd like to see video about all the other camp crafting gear, including various videos about knives and stuff, then check it out here. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Give a kiss night to your loved ones, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.